Starting with politics, former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria and candidate of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, has been declared winner of the Anambra governorship election by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. The returning officer of the Anambra governorship election, Professor Florence Obi, announced the results on Wednesday morning at the INEC office in Awka, Anambra State.
That Charles Chukwuma Soludo of APGA, having satisfied the requirements of the law, is hereby declared a winner and is returned elected.
Soludo, who was the Apex Bank governor between 2004 and 2009, was declared winner after the November 6 election and was declared inconclusive by INEC, and after a supplementary election was held in Ihiala local government area of the state on Tuesday. He won 19 of the 21 local government areas, including Ihiala local government area. 61-year-old Soludo won with 112,229 votes, beating Valentine Ozigbo of the People's Democratic Party, who polled 53,807 votes, and Andy Uba of the All Progressives Congress, who got 43,285 votes. Ifeanyi Uba of the Young Progressives Party polled 21,261 votes. He came fourth.
As I promised, I will work hard every day, never to disappoint you.
Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has congratulated the former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Professor Charles Soludo, on winning the 2021 Anambra governorship election. Reacting, Buhari, in a post on Facebook, urged the candidate of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, ABGA, to tackle the challenges confronting Anambra State and the Southeast. President Muhammadu Buhari further expressed that he looks forward to working with him for the peace, security, and development of Anambra State and the entire country. However, from politics, stiffer penalties henceforth await anyone caught engaging in unauthorized felling of trees and other illegal activities in any of the government forest reserves in Ogun State. The Ogun State Governor Prince Dapo Abiodun gave this warning while reacting to the action of those who invaded government reserves in the state to carry out illegal activities. The governor said this at the presentation of the budget of the Ministry of Forestry at the ongoing Treasury Board meeting. Governor Abiodun declared that his administration will not hesitate to bring the full wrath of the law on anyone found contravening the law.
We need to step up massive advocacy and warnings that if you are caught cutting down these malignant trees, we will descend on you with full wrath of the law. And also, listing out the consequences of these their actions in terms of the environmental consequences.
Commissioner for Forestry, Engineer Tunji Akinsi, promised that the ministry is set to fully implement the directive of the government.
They cannot continue to do that. You think you make small gains from doing that, you are affecting the whole world and your family. You will see that once you cut trees and you don't replace, or you steal trees, right? Just as His Excellency has said, from 2022, we will start to give stiffer penalties, met it out on those that do that.
The commissioner appealed to the people to desist from the activities which constitute danger to the environment. The 2022 Ogun State budget will stimulate the growth of the state economy and engender capacity development of individuals and corporate businesses. These were the words of Governor Dr. Abeokuta on the last day of the state's Treasury Board meeting on year 2022 to 2024 medium-term expenditure framework and 2022 budget. Yusuf Ganiu reports.
The Treasury Board meeting on 2022 to 2024 medium-term expenditure framework on the year 2022 budget is a platform for cross-fertilization of ideas on how to have a budget that would meet the yearnings of the people across the length and breadth of the state. Minister of Information and Strategy, Minister of Youth and Sports, as well as Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment also had their turns in the presentations.
And the implication for this for us next year is that some of the programs that we planned might not be able to actualize. And I said earlier, we are in the public relations arm of government and we do a lot of publicity, not just about the governor, but all the NDAs.
Similarly, Minister of Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, as well as Minister of Culture and Tourism, among other agencies and parastatals, had their own presentations too.
We realize that most of our tourist sites have low patronage of both domestic tourism and import tourism. And we have to change our approach, particularly in the marketing sector that promotes these sites.
We still continue to think of what we can do. I'm not too comfortable. But I will live here with some kind of ladies of revenue to recover the tenure.
Governor Dr. Abeokuta, represented by his deputy, Engineer Noimo Solakoyedele, stressed that the areas through which more investment could be attracted to the states.
And then next year we can see that yes, some things are in place that can now push you to 200. Because whatever initiatives that you have on ground today, you can start using them today. You don't have to wait till January of next year to start implementing them to increase your revenue.
According to her, the desire of the state government is to accelerate the pace of the socio-economic development and growth of both residents and businesses in the state, assuring that the 2022 budget will change the narratives of the economic and social status of the gateway states. Yusuf Ganiu, Ogtv News.
Young and promising entrepreneurs can now enjoy maximum support for their business ideas with the International Buhari's Kickstart Entrepreneurship Initiative, which is geared towards providing startings with fund. Wife of Ogun State Governor Mrs. Bamidele Abiodun at the Kickstart Entrepreneurship Summit in Lagos said with such intervention, the scourge of unemployment will be reduced drastically. Adebola Oshomoji reports.
Towards creating healthier and improved quality of life, wife of Ogun State Governor Mrs. Bamidele Abiodun, alongside other government officials and business leaders from across the country, converged on Lagos to chart a pathway for building entrepreneurs among Nigerian youth during the 2021 edition of International Buhari's Kickstart Entrepreneurship Summit. The entrepreneurship program was conceptualized to upskill the skills of young entrepreneurs and further demonstrate the commitment of international bureaus to the development of the country. Speaking at the event, Mrs. Abiodun appreciated the manufacturing company for supporting government to bridge the unemployment gap among youth.
We are witnesses to the challenges the world has experienced for nearly 2 years now. Many have lost their jobs, and the country is just pulling out of a recession. Despite all that, young Nigerians continue to start businesses and innovate their way out of the many challenges that they face. Our job on this regard is to lend a helping hand where we can and encourage others to do the same. Kickstart and other programs like this are the catalysts needed to help them reach their true potential.
Over 50 young entrepreneurs across the wide range of business sector benefited from the Kickstart investment scheme. Adebola Oshomuji, Ogtv News.
Thank you, Adebola. Still ahead, UNICEF urges government to consider children with disabilities in policy making. More news and reports after this short break. You're still watching Ogtv News. 22,583 women in Ogun State have been benefiting from the Nigeria for Women project through access to loans from their women affinity groups. Accumulated savings. The State Deputy Governor, Engineer Noimot Salako Oyedele, confirmed this at the State Steering Committee Implementation Assessment of Nigeria for Women project held at Odeda for Women in Odeda local government area of the state. Elizabeth Esson reports.
The Nigeria for Women project is a strategic long-term partnership between the federal government of Nigeria and the World Bank to support government's goal of ensuring gender equality. Ogun State is one of the 6 states in the first phase of the implementation and rollout, which allows women to learn financial education and prudence in spending, all aimed at empowering women. While interacting with beneficiaries in the Odeda local government and of course our country. That the project, which is aimed at facilitating women access to social capital through their membership of women affinity groups, will enhance women's participation in decision-making at the household and community levels.
The importance of this, 106 ad hoc Abeokuta business councillors who are currently serving in Ogun State Civil Service have been engaged and trained across the 3 local government areas to support our women in planning their business expansion or diversification.
The chairman of Odeda local government, Folashade Adeyemo, and some of the royal fathers present thanked Prince Takwa Abiodun for selecting Odeda for the project while promising to give the project necessary support and assessments to achieve its desired purpose. Some members of the women affinity groups in the local government share their experiences and the benefits they have been deriving from the project. Women from Odeda, Yewa North, and Ijebu Northeast local government areas of Ogun State will be benefiting from the 5-year national intervention, which will guarantee improved livelihood for 324,000 women in Nigeria. The Deputy Governor is the Chairman Steering Committee of Nigeria for Women projects in Ogun State, with members from the Ministries of Finance, Trade and Investment, as well as Women Affairs and Social Development. Representative of the World Bank, Mr. Michael Ilesomi, commended Ogun State government for being proactive at giving its women the enabling environment to thrive socio-economically. Elizabeth Esson, Ogtv News.
Efforts are being intensified by the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology in Ogun State to develop the interests of young Nigerians in science, technology, engineering and mathematics. A visit to some secondary schools in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, on the occasion of World Science Day, revealed display of scientific innovations by students. Tiwalade Faison reports.
Celebrated every 10th of November, World Science Day for Peace and Development highlights the important roles of science and the society and the need to engage the wider public in debates on emerging scientific issues. It also underlines the importance and relevance of science in daily lives. This year's celebration is tagged Future of Science and Technology Innovation, Impact on Education, Skills and Work. Science teachers in secondary schools visited in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, highlighted the relevance of science to education and to the society at large.
Science and technology are the key driving the economic growth of human development. if any nation want to grow, if they don't invest on science and technology, that nation will not go.
If the government can help us, and with other schools, provide some of these teaching materials, get the labs equipped so that the students will see what they're being taught, that it is real, it's not an abstract thing. If they have the courage, at least they'll be able to encourage so much to go forth for sciences.
Students mentioned how engaging and impactful science has been and how it has helped their assimilation process, while asking for more from stakeholders' intervention in the development of science and technology in schools.
Science has contributed a lot to our well-being, both as a student and as a society. Then also science has helped us in our academies in terms of internet research. When assignments are being given to us, we go on internet to search for. Then we see all these things easily, and we're able to comprehend and understand due to the advancement of technology.
The principal of Lishabi Grammar School Junior, Mrs. Oluwafumilayo Joseph, thanked the Ogun State government for its unreserved commitment to the education sector. Mrs. Joseph said science has become an integral part of the education sector.
We need science, and with the level we are going with these students, we are not really leaving any stone unturned, trying to meet up with the world standard in terms of computers, the JETS opportunity from governments that we should organize junior science students for different competitions, and so many others.
One of the highlights of the celebration is the display of different innovations by students in their various schools. Tuwalade Faison, Ogtv News.
Schools in Ogun State have been warned to desist from using corporal punishment as a method of sanctioning pupils and students. The State Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Professor Abayomi Arigbabu, gave this warning when he met with the management staff of Adoye International Nursery and Primary School, Iyesiota, in his office to address the issue of a 3-year-old child that was beaten on the back of a leg by a teacher in the school on the 28th of October 2021. The commissioner said government will continue to frown at any corrective action that would inflict injuries or pains on any child, whenever government will not condone actions that will drag the name of the state in the mud.
You have to actually do it in such a way that it doesn't bring about this type of situation we have on our hands. You can scold the child, you can talk to her or him or her. You can use some other methods. Even parents say, okay, I'm going to withdraw your allowance, I'm going to do this, and we know all sorts of things that can make the child say, oh, okay, sorry, I won't do it again. All sorts of methods. And one cannot sit down here and prescribe this is the best method to use at all times. As teachers, you should know which one to use at what time.
Babu, while highlighting some of the negative effects of corporal punishment, such as reducing the level of a child's confidence, maiming, death, and so much more, advised that schools should work in tandem with the vision of the present administration by being 21st century compliant in teaching and learning methods. He also stressed the need for schools to organize seminars and workshops to bring their teachers up to date on modern ways of teaching and to come up with strategies to use in tackling indiscipline in place of corporal punishment. In their submissions, the executive director of the school, Mr. Olu Akinlabi, and the head teacher, Mrs. Ayola Olushola, while apologizing for the field that the school has taken some steps to meet with the parents of the child to tender their apology, and he also placed the teacher on suspension. The United Nations Children's Fund has called on government to consider children with disabilities while making policies. UNICEF made the call in its report titled Nearly 240 million children with disabilities around the world, UNICEF's most comprehensive statistical analysis finds. The reports revealed that 1 in 10 children with disabilities worldwide is being deprived of education, healthcare, and other social benefits. As a result, UNICEF has called on government bodies to ensure that children with disabilities are consulted and considered in decision-making processes. Its recent report is aimed at increasing the inclusion of the 1 in 10 children and young people with disabilities worldwide by ensuring they are counted, consulted, and considered in decision-making. According to UNICEF, all children, including those with disabilities, should have a say in issues that affect their lives. For Nigeria to experience development, more attention must be given to the local government administration. The Speaker, Ogun State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Olakunle Oluomo, stated this at the opening ceremony of the 2021 Southwest Zonal Conference of the National Councillors Forum of Nigeria. Kolawole Osho reports that the conference, which was held at the Valley View Auditorium, drew delegates from the local government areas of Southwest Nigeria. His reports are presented in this package.
The local government legislature, comprising of representatives with the nomenclature, councillors, a very important organ for sustainable democracy, grassroots governance, rural development, and many other critical areas that concern humanity, as the harm that is targeted at bettering the lot of the common man. For this purpose, members of the National Councillors Forum of Nigeria converged on Valley View Auditorium, Abeokuta, for their 2021 Southwest Zonal Conference with the theme, The Political and Electoral Values of Councillor in a Sustainable Democracy and Grassroots Governance, to brainstorm and chart an improved progressive path for the development of the legislative arm at the local government. Speaking on the theme, Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Olakunle Oluomo, posited that it has become expedient for legislators to engage in more robust and meaningful debates, pass more socio-economically viable bills into bylaws after following the laid-down procedures for such enactment.
For Nigeria to experience development at the grassroots level, more attention must be given to local government. And when that is done, the onus is on all of you to do your bit among this 24.
He stated further that as a separate organ of government, they should play their role at ensuring the entrenchment of good governance at the local government level.
When the electorates are becoming more sophisticated in their demand for the delivery of democratic dividends, notwithstanding the socio-economic challenges bedeviling the nation, part of the responsibility for fulfilling such demands rests majorly on the third tier of government, which is local government, with councillors having crucial legislative contribution for the much needed change. So let them see the change they needed rested on us. It depends on how we handle it.
Earlier in their remarks, President of the Forum, Honorable Nuruddin Aluwunli, and facilitator of the conference, Alhaji Ademola Abdulwakil, including representative of Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Adeson Yahuyetunde, submitted that councillors have critical role to play in the sustenance of Nigerian democracy, urging delegates to play their roles towards good governance. Others who contributed at the conference said for good governance to be achieved, there must be a vibrant legislature and establish harmonious relationship between legislatures, executives, and career officers at the local government areas.
President Muhammadu Buhari has assured that Nigeria is on the right path to achieving multi-sectoral progress, saying he has revitalized Nigeria's economy, built massive infrastructure, and uplifted the living standards of Nigerians. The president gave the assurance on Wednesday in Paris at the Nigeria International Partnership Forum, a high-level event on the sidelines of the Paris Peace Forum. Report has it that the one-day event is organized to bring together the Nigerian and French governments and private sectors in wide-ranging discussions focused on security, regional stability, trade, and industrialization. The event is also to attract investment to Nigeria bridge existing infrastructure gaps, spotlight Nigerians' immense trade and investment opportunities, and reset false and distorted narratives about the country. The president said the administration had revitalized the economy by increasing investment in capacity building, health, infrastructure, women's empowerment, climate change, and food security. According to the president, the actions are yielding self-employment, expanding human resource pool, and strengthening the national productivity for sustainable development. The Federal Executive Council on Wednesday approved a 2021 to 2025 National Development Plan with an investment size of 348.7 trillion naira. Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, disclosed this after the virtual meeting chaired by the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo. Mrs. Ahmed noted that the 5-year plan, which succeeds the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan that expires in December 2021, is structured around 6 concepts, including economic growth and development, infrastructure, public administration, human capital development, social development, and regional development. According to her, the federal government will broaden the tax base and expand the capacity of the private sector through creating investment opportunities as part of a funding strategy for the plan. In addition, the plan underpinned by a microeconomic framework projecting an average GDP growth of 5% will have contributions by the public sector at 49.7 trillion naira, representing 14.3%, and the private sector at 298.3 trillion naira made towards the investment size. The annual national budget will also be derived from the plan. Senate has approved the 2018 to 2020 federal government external borrowing plan of 16.2 billion naira United States dollars, 1 billion euros, and a grant component of $125 million. The approval is sequel to the consideration of the report of the Senate Committee on Local and Foreign Debt, which scrutinized the request. The loans from World Bank, China Exim Bank, and 8 other international financial institutions is expected to be injected into infrastructural and human capital development. The Senate also approved the committee's recommendation that request for 500 million euros, but not more than 750 million euro bond in the international capital market be approved.
$222 million to be financed by World Bank. Then you have the Ministry of Environment, which they have 2 projects there. One is Nigeria Erosion and Watershed Management Project, additional funding for $400 million to be financed by World Bank.
The approval we have given today is to enable the commence negotiation sourcing for this loan.
That the Senate do approve the underlisted ongoing negotiation of external borrowing in the sum of 16,230,077,718 billion and 20 million euros and a grant component of $125 million under the 2018-2020 external borrowing rolling plan. Say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
The legislators demanded that the executives follow the terms and conditions of the law to the National Assembly. The Senate on Wednesday considered 2 critical bills seeking to facilitate the swift prosecution of money laundering actors. The bills, when passed, would also provide the needed framework for the prosecution of public servants with unexplained sources of wealth. Both bills, which scaled second reading during plenary, were sponsored by Senator Sadiq Umar and Senator Sulaiman Kwari. Leading debate on the general principles of the first bill, Umar explained that the legislation seeks to repeal the Extant Act and enact the Money Laundering Prevention and Prohibition Act 2021. This, it said, was to provide for a more comprehensive legal and institutional framework for the prevention and prohibition of money laundering in Nigeria. On the second bill, Senator Kwari said it was a piece of legislation which, when passed, will help in the fight against corruption, money laundering, and terrorism. It is an open secret that the Extant Money Laundering Act will not meet the required international standard. In his remarks, the Senate President, Dr. Hamid Lawan, referred the two bills to the Senate Committee on Anti-Corruption and Financial Crimes to report back to the Senate in 4 weeks. The Joint Action Committee of Non-Academic Staff Union of Universities and Associated Institutions, the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, have directed its members to proceed on a 3-day protest over the sharing formula of the recently approved 22,127 billion naira earned allowances for the 4 universities-based unions. The unions had earlier rejected the sharing formula of the recent approved 22,127 billion for earned allowances, where 75% of the money was allocated to the Academic Staff Union of Universities, leaving 25% for the other 3 unions. Jack had, in a letter to the Minister of Labour and Employment, Senator Chris Ngige, expressed unfairness in the sharing formula, even as it further called for the minister's intervention on the matter. According to a memo to all the branches signed by the General Secretary of NASU, Prince Peters Adeyemi, and the National President of SANU, Comrade Muhammad Ibrahim, its members across the country are to mobilize for a 3-day protest starting from today, Wednesday, November 10, 2022. It's time to join Okoyemi Adewumi for Business News Update.
Welcome to the business segment of the news. And on the news, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries has said about $450 billion worth of new refinery projects and expansion of existing units will be invested in Nigeria and other developing nations. It said the investments were part of the estimated $1.5 trillion that would be invested in the downstream sector of the oil and gas industry from this year till 2045. The Secretary General OPEC, Sanusi Bakindo, disclosed this at the African Energy Week in Cape Town, South Africa. Bakindo said, in terms of downstream investment, an estimated total of about $1.5 trillion will be spent during the period of 2021 to 2045. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation has agreed to accept Naira payments from depot owners for the use of its vessels for transporting petroleum products to their facilities as part of efforts to ensure smooth supply and distribution of products across the country. The federal government has also directed petroleum marketers to revert to official depot price nationwide. The Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, Mr. Farouk Ahmed, disclosed this at the end of a stakeholders meeting in Lagos. The heads of the Major Oil Marketers Association of Nigeria, the Depot and Petroleum Products Marketers Association of Nigeria, the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, and the Nigerian Port Authority were also at the meeting. Farmers, Central Bank of Nigeria's Anchors Borrowers Program, owed the Apex Bank 463 billion naira at the end of March 2021. Data from the CBN economic reports for April have shown. The Anchors Borrowers Program was launched on November 17, 2015 by President Muhammadu Buhari to reverse the country's negative balance of payments, especially in the area of food. Beneficiaries of the program includes farmers cultivating cereals, maize, wheat, etc., cotton, roots and tubers, sugarcane, tree crops, tomatoes, and livestock. The CBN report revealed that from the inception of the Anchor Borrowers program in November 2015 to March 31st this year, 615.4 billion naira had been disbursed to 3.04 million farmers. The report, however, showed that only 152.3 billion naira had been repaid by the beneficiaries, while the outstanding loans stood at 463 billion. The Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, has said the country's economy may not be able to create as many jobs as the country needs due to its high population growth rate. He made a statement during his keynote address at the 4th Annual Impact Investors Foundation Conference held in Lagos. The VP spoke virtually from his office in Abuja. Population growth rates consistently exceed the capacity of the economy to produce sufficient jobs. It is also quite evident that some of the most lucrative businesses in the economy and with the profits they make only relative to the population benefit from the huge dividends that are declared. The sharp drop in the standard of living caused by the COVID-19 pandemic induced shock in the economy and, of course, the economy's well-being, not only further deepened the existing inequalities, but pushed many people into extreme poverty, the VP added. Osinbajo added that impact investing was a sound approach to addressing the issues. And finally, the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, said in the first half of 2021, the 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory recorded a total of over 849 billion naira internally generated revenue collection. It was contained in the internally generated revenue at state level half-year 2021. It said Lagos State has the highest IGR with over 267 billion naira in first half 2021, followed by FCT with over 69 billion naira and Rivers with over 57 billion naira. According to the reports in the period under review, Yobe State with just over 4 billion naira recorded the least IGR. And that rounds up the business segment of the news. Back to Mojisola.